Hello everyone, this video is designed to take you through the processes of creating a research question, selecting a topic before creating a research question, and also it will take you through conducting a literature search. So first of all, what is research? The most convenient and simple way to understand the concept of research is to deduce it from its etymology. Etymologically, the word research literally comes from the syllabi, the prefix re, which means again or once more, and the verb search, which means examine carefully or test carefully. We can say briefly that research is examining an issue again and carefully through asking relevant questions about it in search for answers. We say that research is examining an issue again because the first examination was done when you encountered it for the first time. An encounter that caused you to have curiosity, puzzle, and wonder about it. When you're conducting a research, you need to adhere to a certain structure. To begin with, you need to choose a topic. Then you need to decide on a research question, your aims and/or objectives. When you have decided on your research question, by all means you need to conduct a background literature search, a literature review. Then you need to choose your methodology, the way that you will be collecting your data. You also need to consider ethics when collecting your data. Then you need to collect the data and you need to decide on the best and appropriate way of collecting the data. Then you need to analyze your data and interpret your results from that data. When you're doing that, you also need to identify any limitations that your study has. And then at the end, you need to evaluate your results and mention your conclusions. You have been asked to complete a research project and your tutor or lecturer has been asking you, what is your research question? But you don't have one just yet and you're wondering about how to write a research question. First of all, you need to select a topic for your research. First of all, you need to select a topic for your research. However, sometimes it's hard to select a specific topic straight away because there's so many topics potentially on offer that you're not sure. So here are some tips. You should select a topic which interests you, a topic you would like to explore in great depth, or a topic you already have some prior knowledge about. You also need to be realistic. You need to ensure that the topic you have selected is connected to the research module. It is within the subject of your studies. It's best to check with your tutor or your supervisor. You need to select one topic and focus on that one particular topic. When you select that topic, you need to check if there is enough background literature to complete your assignment. Then you need to explore this topic in greater depth. And you need to be asking yourself questions. What would you like to find out more about this particular topic? So potentially there are several topics that you are interested in, but you're still not sure which one to select for your study. At that stage, you could select 2 or 3 topics and actually write them down and do a little task which could help you selecting a specific topic for your research. So for example, I'm interested in 3 topics, which are viral and bacterial infections, homelessness and attitudes towards poverty and homelessness, body image in adolescence, body image and social media. So then after you selected the 3 topics, you could complete a mini search on these topics and check if there is enough literature available for you. Is this literature easily accessible? Is there an area within the topic that requires further research? Would you be interested to research that area? Do you have the resources to complete the research? Can you adapt your research question? And write all of these down in a mini statement. At this stage, you should have 2 or 3 statements on each topic that you have selected previously. And I suggest that you take a break and then you go back and read your notes. And now you have 2 or 3 statements and you only need to choose one. So take time to read and compare your notes for each of the topic. Which interests you the most? Which would be more realistic in terms of data collection and data analysis? So just pick one. For example, I decided that I'm going to pick viral and bacterial infections for my research. Now, when you have chosen your topic, you need to consider composing a research question. Composing a research question is a process. So you could consider your aims and objectives before composing a research question. Aims and objectives are specific statements which define measurable outcomes. For example, what steps will you take to achieve the desired outcome? Aims are an intention or aspiration, what you hope to achieve. Aims are statements of intent written in broad terms. Aims set out what you hope to achieve at the end of the project. Example could be, good hygiene should indicate lesser spread of microorganisms such as bacteria, viruses, protozoa, fungi, and algae. Good personal hygiene will be an indicator of lesser spread of bacteria and viruses. Therefore, the individual will be less likely to contract a disease caused by viruses and bacteria when following personal hygiene routines. Some of you may decide to use 2 or 3 objectives instead of research question, and that could be absolutely fine. All you need to do is check with your lecturer. Here are some tips when you're forming a research question. Avoid yes or no questions. The question should require you to explain or defend an answer. It should be achievable. Consider the time constraints of the project. Consider the word count of your project. The resources available for your background search. The methods for collecting the data. The availability of the resources. The sample size, and any other potential limitations. When composing your research question, make sure that it is analytical. It can start with such words as why, how, to what extent. You can create your own question, or you could use a previous research question and explore it further. Research questions are narrow and specific. Their aim is to obtain measurable data focusing on the identified variables within a hypothesis. So when creating your research question, you need to consider the following. Your research question has to be clear. It provides enough specifics that one's audience can easily understand its purpose without needing additional explanation. It is focused. It is narrow enough that it can be answered thoroughly in the space the writing task allows. It is concise. It is expressed in the fewest possible words. It is complex. It is not answerable within a simple yes or no, as mentioned previously. It is arguable. Its potential answers are open to debate rather than accepted facts. However, you might prefer to write two objectives instead, and that is absolutely fine. So for example, Objective 1, social media use affects body image. Objective 2, body image investigation in young men from the age of 18 to 25. Double check with your tutor. Here I have some examples of research questions for you. One of them is, to what extent does the current NHS World Health Organization guideline of washing hands prevent the spread of the viruses? And the second one is, what are the major predictors of the cardiovascular disease in middle-aged men? Spend some time on composing your research question. It is a process and it might take you a few days or maybe even a few weeks of writing your research question. It depends on the topic, the background search, and the timeline that is provided by your tutor for your research project. When you are happy with your research question, it is time to complete your literature search. Explore the topic in greater depth. Before collecting your data and designing your questionnaires, even if you already have your research question ready, you must complete a literature search. Now, depending which approach you're using for your data collection, your literature search might be slightly different. If you are using quantitative approach, your literature review is significantly done prior to the research. Its aims is to justify the need for studying the research problem proposed and the research questions that may be raised for the proposed study problem. If you are using a qualitative research approach, literature review is not significant at the beginning of the research. This means that it does not provide any directions for the research questions and shows the importance of the problem. The research question and the importance of the problem of research will depend on the views of participants and the way you understand them in the course of your research, your interpretation. This is an example of literature search, a really basic one. All I did is I went to Google Scholar and typed in virus and washing hands in the search, and then I just had a look what I could find on Google Scholar. As you can see, on the left hand side you can modify the dates, when the articles and the books were published, and any other resources which could help you to narrow your search. As you can see, I'm using some keywords which also helps me to narrow my literature search. As a result of my background search, I have managed to find a lot of different resources on Google Scholar. However, there are many more on other resources as well on other search engines. But for the purpose of this video, I'm only going to focus on Google Scholar. One of the ways of narrowing your search is to read the abstracts. When you come across a journal article, you do not have to read the whole article. All you need to do is read the abstract. Abstract in a journal article is the summary of the whole article. It should report the aim of the research, the methods used to collect the data, data analysis, results, and the conclusion. Read the abstract, and then when you read the abstract, decide whether the results of this research are appropriate to be used for the background search for your research or not. Make some notes whilst you're doing that. Make sure you keep a track of the sources that you read. It will really help you. When you're happy with your background search, select the most appropriate articles that you will use for your literature search and prepare to write it. When you're writing your literature review in your report, begin with a more generic introduction of the topic. Then begin to narrow down the topic. Be more specific as you progress to the end of your literature review. Offer an argument, mention a positive, a negative, and a neutral point. Form a rationale for your research. Which previous studies are you using as a foundation for your research? And whilst you're writing it, stay very focused as this is a report. For example, I am going ahead with washing hands. So I have looked at a lot of different resources and I have chosen the most current ones from 2017 to 2020. I have chosen reliable sources which provide objective information about the topic which are based on facts. So when I am writing my literature search, my literature review, I have decided to go ahead and use a positive, a negative, and a neutral aspect. So my positive aspect could be, Washing hands with soap and water is a proven and effective method. It is scientifically tested, and clean hands dramatically reduce the spread of the viruses. A negative aspect could be excessive hand wash can cause damage of the skin, which can lead to eczema-like symptoms. Damaged skin is more prone to becoming infected with bacteria, viruses, and other infections. And a neutral fact. Washing hands and other hygiene routines should be the norm in any situation. It can take you some time to conduct your literature search and to write up your literature review, but spend that time on it because when you're ready, you can progress on to the next stage. I hope that this video was helpful for creating a research question and conducting literature search for your report. Thank you for watching.